Hello? All right, boys and girls, welcome back to the drive-thru in front of a live studio audience. DJ says, what's up? And this is 2-9. We're going to go off the grid for this one. I don't like these sections in the book that are all discovery-based, so I'm just going to teach you what you need to know. I think you guys will like this more. So lines. Well, what is a line? Well, I don't know. It goes on one of these things, and it looks like this, right? Only it has arrows because it goes on forever. That's a line. Well, what makes something a line is that it is an arithmetic sequence. It has a slope. Every time I go over one, I go up the same amount, just like steps. Okay, so that is what makes something a line. How do you find slope? Well, slope we usually call by the letter M, and to find slope we would need 2 points on our line. So let's just call this a generic point, x1, comma, x2. And then let's call this, oh gosh, I'm an idiot, but you guys already knew that. How about we call it x1, y2, because that would be much more sensible. x1, comma, y2, y. How about x1, y1? Remix. Okay, so that's a point. Any point x, comma, y. Well, let's call this x2, y2. So before you turn off the video because you're frustrated, let me just tell you, this is just some x and some y, and this is the second x and the second y. Okay, that's all it is. Okay, so we got our points. Typically, to find slope, remember to put your y's on top. So it's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Now, you could also, if you wanted to, do y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2. And if you're like curious and smart, I would encourage you to think about, why are those the same thing? How could those be the same thing? They are. Okay? The intercept is typically b, and to find the intercept, we put it a 0 in for x. Come on, ViewSonic. Come on, ViewSonic. Come on, ViewSonic. Oh gosh, what is this? Okay, we put a 0 in for x, and whatever you get for y is your b. So in this case, this actually would be our b right there. That is our y-intercept. It's where it touches the y-axis. Okay, so now we're going to get to the point of today's lesson, and that is equations for lines. Slope-intercept, you like this one. Y equals mx plus b. Or maybe, come on, ViewSonic. Come on, ViewSonic. Come on. B. Okay. Or maybe the book will write it f of x is mx plus b. Okay? So you've been working with that all year. Well, now you're going to learn a new one, and it's point slope. So I want you to look at this right here. Okay, now we're going to start here. Let me just tell you what point slope is. It's y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Okay, or this book likes to write it as y book. You guys don't even know what books are. Equals m times x minus x1, and then look, they just added plus y1. So they added a y1 to both sides. Okay? So it's really important you understand that these two things are the same equation, just written two different ways. But you might ask yourself, how are these two things related? Well, it all comes down to slope. Remember? Come on, ViewSonic. Remember that slope is equal to change in y over change in x. So, what would happen if I multiplied both sides by x1 minus x? Now you might be asking, what the heck are you doing that for? Just do it. Just trust me. If I multiply both sides, well, what happens when you multiply a fraction, the numerator by the denominator, those cancel each other. So you're left with y1 minus y is equal to m times x1 minus x. Well, if you followed along with my other thing, maybe you realize this and this are the same thing. They're the same thing. Okay? So, some examples. Let's find the equation of a line with a slope of 2 that contains the point 1, 4. Okay. So, it doesn't tell us how to write the equation of a line, so let's just go for y equals mx plus b. Now, we know the m, but I wish we knew the b. Well, we also know an x and a y. So let's just plug everything we know in. 4 equals 2 times 1 plus b. Remember, we're trying to find m and b. We know m, we're trying to find b. 4 equals 2 plus b. Subtract 2 from both sides. b is 2. So this equation is y equals 2x plus 2. Let's test it. Put it a 1. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. That point works. We did it right. Okay, example 2. Find the equation of a line in slope-intercept form. All right. Well, I wish they would have just let us... Oh, shoot. Another way we could have done this one up here is just... It didn't tell us how to write it. We should have just went y minus 4 equals 2 times x minus 1. That would have been so much easier. So much easier. This is also the right answer to the first question. Now, you might be asking yourself, what? Those are not the same thing. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Just distribute. Y minus 4 equals 2x minus 2. Let's add 4 to both sides. Let's add 4 to both sides. Y equals 2x minus 2 plus 4. Y equals 2x plus 2. Okay. Same thing. So now we got to do it in slope-intercept form. So this is what we want. So 3 equals, what's our slope? 3, what's our x? Times 1 plus b. 3 equals 3 plus b. We want b, so we need to get rid of the 3. Oh, b is 0. So, slope-intercept form, this is going to be y equals 3x plus 0. All right, so find the equation in point-slope form. So it's one of these two forms. That's what we learned before. But hold on, we don't know the slope. It's no big deal. Okay, the slope is change in y, 6 minus 4, over change in x. So it's 2. So the slope is 2. We want it in point-slope form, so which point should we use? It doesn't matter, so we could have really 2 or 4 different answers. If we use the first point, y minus 4 equals 2 times x minus 2, we could also write that as y equals 2 times x minus 2 plus 4. Those are the same thing. We could write it as y minus 6 equals m times x minus 3. We could also write that as y equals 2 times x minus 3 plus 6. But here's the thing I want you to know. All of these are the exact same line. I encourage you to pause the video. Okay? Distribute the 2. Simplify everything. And what you're going to get for this is, if you put it into slope-intercept form, y equals 2x plus 0. Alright, now, you can work through this if you want. If you have time or you're really interested. Let's see if this ViewSonic can catch up with us. This is getting frustrating, but it's okay. It's Friday. You can work through this lesson if you want, or you can just skip directly to the assignment and do some practice. Come see me if you need help. Boom!